the previous segments, we discussed some ways how concepts and ideas from biology can be applied to our understanding of cities. There are many more that we could think about, but all of this raises the question whether it actually makes sense to look at cities through the lenses of biology. In other words, can there be a biological theory of cities, and what would be its purpose? Biologists more recently are often criticized to behave like the 19th century British. So we are rather imperialist. We run over all kinds of domains from the social sciences all the way to the humanities and apply our underlying biological ideology in those areas. Let's not talk about that. This is not about eliminating the necessity for other types of investigations. It's about whether ideas can actually stimulate new conceptions and new insights into cities, and if biological ideas can actually be helpful. We have seen that we are not really talking about biology as such. We are talking about a kind of a meta-theory of biology, namely the theory of complex adaptive systems, which has been developed to a large degree inside the biological domain, and which applies generally to biological systems, but which also applies to other areas, such as the economy, such as technological systems, and, as we have argued here, to cities. Now, what can be gained? What can be gained is that biological systems or biological theory force us to be more precise about certain causal interactions. We always think that humans have a lot of freedom in their actions, and we cherish our individuality. Yet individuality often gets in the way if you want to understand the general processes that actually run and organize complex entities such as cities. Does it really matter who is in power? Or is the system as such controlling its own destiny anyway? Cynics would say that certainly the latter is true. Now, not going along in that direction, let's ask the question of what might be a positive feature of those kind of biologically inspired theoretical conceptions of a city. Cities as organisms, yes, but not your grandfather's organisms, as we have seen, but rather the new insights of organisms that make them much more dynamic, interactive, almost like ecosystems, where information is distributed across a wide variety of different entities, where central control is certainly overrated, but where the most important feature is how those different parts actually interact with each other and how they regulate each other's interactions. Let me bring up one point that is often misunderstood when we apply biological insights to non-biological systems, human systems, cultural systems. And that is the idea that there's a distinction between the organism, or the individual, and its environment, and that it's the environment that selects particular variants that exist within the population. This is far from true. There is a concept called niche construction. What we realized over the last several decades actually is that the organisms, through their actions, actively shape their own environment. They shape and create their niche. Now, if we apply this idea to our own species, we can ask the question, what is the appropriate ecological niche for current members of our species, Homo sapiens? Obviously, we have shaped our environment through the millennia and dramatically transformed it. In the course, we also have transformed ourselves, because there are many intricate relationships between our created environments and us as biological and social and cultural individuals. So this raises the question of what role cities have in this dynamic. One could make the argument, and that's one that I would like to end with here, is that actually through the theory of niche construction, the creation of the city environment has become the predominant environment of our species, and will so into the very near future. You know that more recently we passed a landmark that more than 50% of all the members of our species actually live in large cities. We all live in social organizations. There are very few hermits left, and those that are, in general, don't leave a lot of offspring, so we can more or less ignore them as a form of life. So all of our species reproduces within social contexts, smaller social contexts, but increasingly also within city environments. And since we are and continue to evolve, we can raise the question to what extent what we observe here with the interaction of us and our city environments is the emergence of a new niche construction that basically will shape the future of our species. And if this is indeed the case, then we would need some insights into the biological processes that we understand in order to see how we can both understand and shape this dynamic into the future.